Hey everyone, welcome back to Revolution Boas. Today we are tackling a fix on one of my snake racks. If you've ever had insulation problems on your racks, thermostat setup problems, or just want to improve how you're keeping your snakes, you are in the right place. Plus, I've got a wild story for you on how my phone met its demise while showing a house. Stay tuned and I'll fill you in on all of this. Before we jump in, quick story time. So in my day job, I sell real estate, and I was showing a condo, pointing out some features on a house when my phone got knocked out of my hand while I was on the top floor. The phone tumbled down 4 flights of stairs, hitting, I'm sure, every step on the way down, and the screen met its demise. So I don't have footage right now on building these racks. Let's work with what we got, and I will fix the phone and show you that process later on. So here's the deal. Originally, I used 3M duct tape to hold the insulation on the back of these racks. Needless to say, the duct tape did not hold to the MDF backer board and let go. That was a lesson learned. Today, I'm going to use Gorilla Tape because, man, that stuff sticks to everything. That will secure that insulation in the back and give me the heat savings that I'm looking for. First, I need to clean up this area and find a better place for these bin lids. Then I'll take both snakes out, snap lids onto their bin, and unplug the thermostat for safety. I place the rack on my desk so I can work comfortably. Since the old tape failed, removing the insulation is pretty easy. It already did most of the work for me. Next, spin the rack around, carefully remove the ink or temperature probe. The tape here actually stuck pretty well, so I have to be careful not to stretch or damage the heat tape. Now this rack is wide enough to need 2 strips of insulation. If possible, get insulation that matches your rack's width to make this easier. I still have some left over from my last rack build over 10 years ago, so let's just use this up. I tape the first strip to the back of the rack, making sure it's secure. I'm also ensure I'm not covering the hole for the thermostat probe. If you're struggling with this and want an easier time, just lay the rack flat while applying the tape. 1 full strip around the edges ensures that I won't have to redo this anytime soon. Pro tip here, guys, this black Gorilla Tape will destroy this insulation if you try and remove it. So you only get 1 shot. After that, you're almost better to fold it over and start again. Now, on this rack, I decided to upgrade the thermostat to a Herpestat 2, which essentially comes in a pizza box. I open it up. Everything that I need is right here in the box. First, the manual, which I immediately throw away. Okay, maybe not the best idea, but we all do it, right? Next, I'll pull out the temperature probes. These are what are going to monitor the temperature of the heat tape and relay that information back to the Herpestat so that it can adjust power accordingly. There's also a power cable, which will power both the thermostat and the heat tape, as well as the Herpestat unit. I separate and unravel one of the probes and feed it through the back wall of the rack, leaving plenty of slack. More is better at this stage. Then I spin the rack back around and secure the probe to the heat tape using, surprise, 3M duct tape. Unlike Gorilla Tape, this can be removed if needed without destroying the heat tape, but it also has enough adhesion, or it adheres to the heat tape well enough to ensure that the probe doesn't fall off the back. That is super important. Personally, I place the probe in the middle shelf of the zone I'm trying to heat. Seeing as this only has 1 strip of heat tape and it's only 5 levels high, I'm only going to use 1 probe. Now, if you're running multiple zones, divide them evenly and place the probes accordingly. Next step, I push the extra cable through the back wall, making sure there's no slack, and I tape it securely so it stays put. One important tip here, the edges of the bins can cause wear. So just make sure you put that probe low enough and the cord low enough that it doesn't interfere with how the bins slide in and out of the racks, but also that the bins don't touch it and give premature wear. All this extra slack, I just tape it up the back of the wall of the rack to the top where my Herpestat is going to sit. Another tip here, the edge of the rack is super sharp. So just put a couple layers of tape. That way it doesn't cut any of your cords. Once this is all done, I insulate this last half of the rack just to ensure that there's no extra heat loss. Time to get the Herpestat set up, but first I need to clean up all these messy cords. The thermostat cord separate and the power cord separate. It's not perfect, but it's way better than it is before. And later on, when I got to do moving around, I know exactly which cable goes where. Since I don't have an outlet nearby, I'm going to use this heavy duty power cable rated for appliances. Overkill, maybe, but it's what I had laying around, and overkill is better than undersized. Now let's plug everything in and power up. The Herpestat has a ton of features. Right now, I'm just interested in maintaining temperature of the heat tape. I enter in the desired temperature for my heat tape and how I want the Herpestat to do that. Another tip here, once you have your desired settings entered into your Herpestat, give it about an hour or two to stabilize the temperature of that heat tape. That way there's no spikes high or low with your snakes in the bin. Before we wrap this up, let's talk about why I insulate this rack. Years ago when I was keeping snakes before, I insulated the back of my racks and I saw a small power savings by insulating the back of my racks. Now this is purely anecdotal right now. It's been how many years? I've forgotten a bunch of it. So I'm going to run a little bit of experiment. The top rack you see behind me has the insulation. The bottom rack hasn't been insulated yet. So I'm going to power that on as well and let it run for about a week. While doing this, I'm going to record the power usage. This is one of the features of the Herpestats, is it lets you know the percentage of power it's putting into the heat tape. So I'm going to record that number for about a week, and then I'm going to insulate the rack and let it run for another week and see what kind of savings in power output I get. I'm thinking about 10 or 15%, but let's see. All right, that's it for today's rack repair. If you like what you saw, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We always have great content just like this. Also, leave a comment down below and tell me what kind of power savings you think that the insulation is going to give, if any at all. Until next time, keep your snakes happy and your racks well insulated.